Okay guys, push like, subscribe, push that notification bell if you want notifications. And we're still talking about this Mackenzie case. It's unfolding really quickly. So what's the scoop right now? So Salt Lake City police have served a search warrant at the home of 547 North 1000 West in South Lake City. So this was happening Wednesday, June 26th. So they're looking for the University of Utah student Mackenzie Lueck. Now police are still asking if you have any tips on this case to continue to send those tips regarding Lueck's disappearance while police search the garage and the driveway of this home. So sometime this morning they should have a little bit more information on what they find at this house with the search warrant that they served. So neighbors watching the scene unfold around 10:30 p.m. Wednesday night described the primary occupant of the house to be a male man, of course, in his 30s or 40s, as someone who keeps to himself. They say, quote, "He seems like a quiet guy," end quote, said a neighbor from across the street who said he had seen the man in his yard occasionally. He and his partner, who declined to give their names, said they first noticed the police cars in front of the home earlier in that afternoon. So what we're finding out about this house is it is an Airbnb home. The house includes a bedroom that is available for rent and short-term stays, according to the listing on the Airbnb and the accounts from neighbors. As police and the public have sought answers about Mackenzie's disappearance 9 days ago, questions were being raised about whether her social media and dating accounts might lead to a break in the case. But before I continue this article, guys, I want to mention, she was in sweats. That does, to me, that, and to some of you, that doesn't make sense that she had a date. So Lueck, 23, was last seen early on the morning of June 17th. And for those of you who do not are not familiar with this case, when she flew in to the Salt Lake City International Airport, she was just leaving a family funeral in California, which was in her hometown, El Segundo, California. Surveillance video at the airport recorded Mackenzie making her way to baggage and then getting into the lift car. It's from that point where she gets into the lift car that she drives to the Hatch Park in that, rides in the lift car, where the Lyft driver says that he drops her off at that park and there was somebody waiting to pick her up. And as many of us have said, it's very suspicious on how she did this, take a Lyft car from the airport to the park and then to be picked up by someone else and driven to another location. It just seems sketchy. So the Lyft driver was cleared later, supposedly, but, I'm sure they were still keeping an eye on him, no matter what they said. But Wednesday I'm talking too far ahead here. So at 3 a.m. is about that time she was picked up by, the unidentified person, where she then drove off from the park. The Lyft driver says he was not able to give a model of the car or an identity of the person, but I believe he probably did, and the police just didn't want that getting out right now. That was a very smart move on the police. It seems that the police on this case actually should, there's many other places like Texas that should be taking lessons. So what they're saying is the park where she switched cars was less than 6 miles from the Fair Park home police were searching Wednesday. And on Wednesday, Salt Lake City police confirmed that the young woman known as Kenzie sent a text to someone while she was at the airport, and detectives have been in contact with that person. So the detective on this case, Michael Ruff, declined to say whether this person was a male or woman, but we find out that it is most likely a male person. So previously, police had stated that Mackenzie texted her parents at 2 a.m. on June 17th when she arrived at the airport. Ruff said Wednesday that the new person police had talked to, whom she texted, was not her parents, but declined to give more details. So, they had private investigators and all kinds of people involved with this case, and they were able to uncover a few things, including the fact that she was involved with a group and a few dating sites, including Tinder, and another one which is for sugar daddies and sugar babies. When they addressed this to one of the conferences, the police response was, "We're aware of that and we're following up on all those leads." But they declined, to say anything more, really. And where they were getting most of that info was coming from a local produced podcast, and the name of that group is called the Zion Lost, which focuses on missing people and cold case investigations. They said when they sent their private investigator out to look into this case, they were no way looking to make her look bad, but they did find out that she was involved with Seeking Arrangement, which promotes itself as the world's largest network for sugar daddy and sugar baby relationships. Okay, so I want to return to the part where they got the warrant for that home near Fair Park Wednesday. So what I'm reading here is that they arrived at the house around 2 p.m. and parked a large recreation vehicle with the words Mobile Command Center. So detectives and crime scene technicians could be seen at the house and the unattached garage. And I guess more people accumulated there as dusk turned into night. Police even towed away a car. A 10 p.m. briefing by Chief Tim Doubt told reporters that the investigators would be at that scene for hours. He then went on to say that obviously we are treating this with high degree of care, which is something you need to do after watching the Andrew McDonald case and so many, like the Malia Davis case, and the Kelsey Barrett, which was a fail. But anyways, he goes on to say, given the nature of this case, we don't want to make a mistake. Smart, intelligent leadership right there. He also says that anyone living in that home is part of the investigation, and that there is a nexus between this home and Mackenzie's disappearance, though he wouldn't say whether anyone had been arrested or comment on any evidence police may have found. But you can see here in this, in some of these pictures that I have, that they're coming out with huge bags full of evidence. So in this article, it says that about midnight, police were seen carrying shovels into the home's backyard. Brown paper bags of what appeared to be police evidence were placed near the front doorway. They give us a little bit of information on the owner of the home, which they go on to say, who lived there for a couple of years, previously lived in an apartment that was about 0.2 miles away from Hatch Park in North Salt Lake City, which is where Mackenzie was last seen. And you remember, guys, when I mentioned to you, I felt like somebody knew that those security cameras were not working. But when they did a background check on this guy, they found out that he has no criminal history in Utah, beyond a few traffic citations. So here we have a witness, which is a neighbor, Tom Kamali, I hope I said that right, said that the owner had turned part of that house into a rental he offered through Airbnb. So that's, two people telling us that. He says there are people coming and going most of the time. The neighbor also said the owner almost always wears earbud-style headphones when he's outdoors and rarely speaks to anyone. Neighbors also said that they recently saw the owner burning something in his backyard, and the smoke was coming into their windows. Can I give a hint to you guys? If you see somebody burning in the backyard, call the police, guys. I know most of the time it's going to be innocent, but just in case. I mean, it's just been so many cases where if somebody might have called earlier. Now, another neighbor, Joseph Peterson, who lives on Marion Street, which is a block west of the house, said that when he got home from work, which is about 6 p.m., so the fire was going about 6 p.m., whichever day, he smelt a strong stench blowing on the breeze from the east. He quoted, "It definitely assaulted your nose." Now, they're saying there was another renter here, John Williamson of Fort Worth, Texas, rented the Airbnb for Wednesday. When he arrived at 9 p.m., he found that the house was surrounded by police and crime tape. "It's wild," Williamson said. "Just wild." So obviously people are still shocked at, these kind of things happening. But if they only knew how often they are happening today, people need to be aware. So the investigation breakthrough, they repeat, through this article, the same thing that we heard before, that the police confirmed Wednesday that Mackenzie was texting someone from the airport before she disappeared, but said that after talking to that individual, he or she, which we know is a he, is not considered to be a suspect or the person of interest at this time. And so they do that so that these people go on with their regular lives and don't hide too much as police get warrants, and things like this. They don't want these people to panic. So they say that they could not elaborate on who that person was, what the pair texted about, whether their communication continued after Mackenzie left the airport, or if she is known to have communicated with anyone else that morning. Of course, they're not going to do that. But ladies, this should be a warning to you guys. This had nothing, it doesn't look like this had anything to do with her sugar daddy stuff, but it could be, and we just don't know about it. But I'm just telling you, she just looked like she was just needing a place to stay the night. And also looking at this Airbnb home that she stayed at, this definitely isn't a top, notch place. So no sugar daddy was giving her too much, it doesn't appear to me. But police did do a good job, guys, because they even bumped me off a little bit. So, what the details for Wednesday afternoon is that the department posted a tweet that said officers knew Mackenzie, 23, was texting someone while she was at the airport. This detail comes from after Doubt, which is an officer, told reporters at the news conference that surveillance footage doesn't show that Mackenzie talked to anyone between the time she exited her airplane and left the airport. So yeah, they're just repeating this information that we already know. Only question I have is, why was she staying over in Salt Lake City? Why didn't she just fly to her destination? So what was going on with that? I'm sure, like they mentioned, so sometime this morning we'll get some more information. I have company coming in today, and I'm dealing with a few things, so I don't know if I'll be able to keep you guys updated on the new stuff coming out today. But at least there is new stuff coming out, so you can be aware and looking for it. It seems like they probably found the answers they're looking for. I don't know what to think at this point. It wasn't the news I was hoping for, so it seems like they're going to go through the stuff that they found in the bird pile in the back. And once they go through all that, we'll hear more. Anyway, guys, I love you guys. I have to go, but I want to say thank you so much for watching and caring enough, to look at these videos of missing people. And I'll see you guys soon.